All right, everybody. Got a Schmolke investment team practice report. A foggy Tuesday morning, and we had Joe Sloan after practice today. If you've probably already seen it, close to 17 minutes of 4K practice footage up on our YouTube channel and on the front page of tigerbait.com. John Eads is bailing me out in a big way because Buddy and I actually recorded a practice report in our normal fashion out in the parking lot, and got home and the audio was gone. So we're actually redoing one, and thanks to John, I pulled him out of the gym early, so it wasn't a leg day, was it?
It was actually. You texted me one exercise in. I was like, all right, here we go. I got plans afterwards.
So it was actually good because John's known for skipping leg day, so it worked out fine.
Yep. Doesn't matter how much you hit your calves, Mike, at least for me, they're never going to grow. So
no, that's me. That's me.
Yep.
Thoughts on LSU practice? Look, there wasn't a whole lot we saw today. So really, a lot of times when we do these, it's kind of a synopsis or kind of an overall feeling of what you saw out there. One of the things I said in the unusable practice report that I filmed with Buddy this morning was, I read all the comments and people asking for more defensive back footage, and even if I get more of it, we're not really seeing anything that says, boy, Mansour Delane sure is a difference maker, or he really flashed today. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen, it's either the portions of practice were there, we're not seeing it. And not to say that whether it's that cornerback spot or safety, that they don't have the answers and they're going to, have 4 all SEC selections at the end of next season. But up to this point, have you seen any flashes of brilliance at either one of those spots? I just haven't seen it. And it's because, and I don't know if it's because it's not happening. It's just not happening when we're there.
Yeah. And it's hard because we only get the first 20 minutes. Half the time, it seems like they spend it kicking field goals, which is cool, but you can't tell if they go in or not.
Right.
Home. And again, this is out of our control, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining or anything. And then after that, the defense, they split up and they do a circuit drill where they tackle, they pursue, but you got defensive tackles doing DB drills and vice versa. So naturally, your eyes are drawn to the other field where the offense is doing a scripted drive, and then the offensive line is right in front of you. As far as the DBs, they are the furthest away from where we're standing when we're filming practice. So it's hard to even get a look at what they're doing, and they're not really doing a whole lot of anything. So to answer your question, I have seen flashes like the other day at practice when we couldn't film. DJ Pickett, there was a video that actually circulated that Braden Swinson shot. He had a one-on-one rep with Barry and Brown. Brown beats him on a go route, post route by a couple.
Oh, steps. I got that one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
But Pickett tracked it down and got his hand in there, right? And I thought that was super impressive because that's one thing that has hurt this defensive back room is they lack playmaking ability. They don't tip passes. They don't intercept passes. The run game supports a whole nother equation. But I think with Pickett's length and some of the playmaking ball ability I've also seen from Delane, from Cooley, the other guys, I think that's going to be a huge upgrade in that secondary room. They're going to be more physical, more technically sound, and they just bring some intangible things to the table that other people can't. DJ Pickett's 6'4". I went back and tried to find the last time they had a corner that was close to that. The closest I could find was Greedy Williams, and he was 6'3". Maybe.
Who was?
Greedy Williams, I read, was 6'3", but he's...
Well, Thurl Simon would have been bigger than him.
Yeah, and he's before Greedy?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't want to spend all day looking, but Pickett's size himself, I mean, this is why he was a 5-star. It's one thing to have the speed and some of those good coverage abilities, but that length and the frame that he can grow into is what people saw or foresaw when putting him as the number 1 corner recruit in the country.
Well, look, and a lot of people, because of that height, and we're questioning, is he maybe a safety, if you recall?
Perhaps, but he moves
either way, he's a stud wherever he ends up a year, 3, 5, 7 years from now. Mm-hmm. You see those things going from college to pro, and certainly he's going to add weight as he matures. So.
He's already added weight. He looks a lot bigger from when I saw him first at bowl practice. And, Corey Raymond's coaching them up well, man. They were doing a run support drill right in front of us the other day. He moves well. He's got good feet. He gets low. I really think he's going to contend for playing time early, and certainly wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility for him to be a starter at some point in the season.
Absolutely. Well, these practice reports, of course, are brought to you each and every spring practice and fall practice by our good friends Bart and Brian Schmolke over at the Schmolke Investment Team. Are you tired of watching your money sit idle? It's time to get off your couch or assets and start investing. Every moment you wait could be a missed opportunity to manage your wealth. At the Schmolke Investment Team, their financial advisor are ready to kickstart your investment journey. Whether you're a new investor or looking to expand your portfolio, they've got expertise to guide you every step of the way. So stop procrastinating. Don't let fear hold you back. Take action now and help safeguard your financial future. Give them a call at 318-448-3201 or visit them at www.smokyteam.com, or you can go by their office at 128 Versailles Boulevard in Alexandria for a free initial consultation. Your future's in your hand. Make it happen. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA/SIPC. All investing involves risk, including loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. No finer people than the Schmolke family, and been knowing them for 25 years. And believe me, if you're in central Louisiana or anywhere in Louisiana, you're looking for a financial advisor, cannot beat that free initial consultation. Give them a shot at helping you either get started if you're new or need some advice and are considering moving your current portfolio. John, talk about some of the questions that you have in the coming weeks that, I'm sure you're like me. You go to practice and you're saying, man, I'm the next time we get a full practice, what are you hoping to see?
Well, sometimes it's hard to keep track of what's going on because sometimes they shift the practice to the complete other side of the facility,
Right.
And it's difficult to make out who's who and what the heck's going on over there. I guess the biggest questions I have are kind of the mainstream ones. How's the offensive line going to continue to shape up? They got so many different names and faces that could fill those roles. It looks like Braylon Moore is starting to get more opportunities at center. I'm curious to see how Josh Thompson fits into the fold now. I mean, you've already done a couple weeks of spring ball without him in winter conditioning. How does he factor into that equation? Does he pan out as a tackle? Does he finally eventually find his way into those guard roles? I think it's a good problem to have, though, because there's a lot of competition. Brian Kelly talked about that the other day. And I think that's only going to make this position group better and better, because last year you had pretty much everybody back, right? And I feel like we all got into this trap where we took for granted how good or what level the offensive line was playing at. We all kind of just assumed, certainly I'm in this equation too, that they would just be one of the top units in the country and unstoppable. Obviously that wasn't necessarily the case. They had some things they did well, some other things they didn't do so well. And I wonder, you can probably make the argument that some of those guys maybe got a little bit complacent, didn't feel the pressure of guys behind them. So they just kind of maybe were going through the motions a little bit and thought they were better than they actually were. I think the fact that you got 9 or 10 guys scrapping for playing time, some guys that got paid to come in here and take jobs, other guys that see that those guys got paid to come take their job, I think it just breeds good, hopefully healthy competition every day. And I guess one other thing is the DN spot. There's a lot of different guys that could fill that position. They also paid guys to come in and play, but they've also got some returnees that certainly don't want to give up their post and, have built a level of respect and credibility in their 1 or so years in the program. So a lot of different possibilities there, which is a good problem to have. And I'm curious to see maybe as the weeks go on, who's getting more opportunities, who's moving up and down the pecking order there.
Well, I'm very, very high overall on this LSU football team. I just marvel at these guys when they run from one field to the next. The other day, last week, I had some footage of the offensive line is a whole group. It looked like, it really looked like a herd of buffalo coming at you. Mm-hmm. And I think between not only the numbers, the numbers of offensive linemen, the quality of the offensive linemen, I keep saying you lost what you lost last year in a couple of high round draft picks, but I think that room is so solid. Are they going to take some time to gel? I hope they're good enough to get it done at Clemson, but I do think it's from week to week that group's going to get better and perform better. But I just like the sheer numbers that Brad Davis has there. And then when you see, like this morning, the double team drills that they were working on and watching Kyle Williams' group, again, your trench work between your OL and your DL, this is the best that Brian Kelly's had since he's been in Baton Rouge overall. Just the depth, the overall numbers, and the quality. And, you know, and a big part of that on the defensive side of the ball is what they did on the edge in the portal. But, yeah, then we're going to see soon. I asked BK that question the other day. Most LSU fans really didn't want to give DJ Chester much of a chance at center. They were ready to toss him to guard immediately. And that's why I asked, is it a not so fast scenario with Braylon Moore? Or are we going to start to see as things progress, does Moore get more and more of those reps with the ones? It's a nice problem to have where you've got guys who can cross-train and play multiple positions. But I wonder that's going to play out, because you can say what you want about DJ Chester. He was a redshirt freshman last year, and there is a size difference between the two of those guys.
There is, yeah. Moore's at 300, 6'2", but you look at Chester, he's taller and he's bigger, and he has that year of SEC experience under his belt with some mixed results. Moore obviously has started a lot of games at Virginia Tech in the ACC, and we could sit here and have the conversation: is the ACC harder, stronger than the SEC as far as the trenches go and the overall brand of football? But love what I've seen from DJ Chester. I know we've already talked about it. They brought in Braylon Moore to take his spot, but he's feeling some type of way about that. He's not ready to give it up.
Well, it's a win. It's a win. Either way, it's a win. They're pushing each other.
No, and what's the worst thing that could happen? He slides over to guard, Now, there's no guarantee he gets that job, because the guards have looked pretty good too. Josh Thompson on the one side, Paul Mubanga on the other. But, I mean, like you said, your top two, even your third team offensive line, with some guys that have redshirted and already developed a little bit, and some of the talented true freshmen that have come in, you got some really, really good depth here. And on the D-line, I think they can get more – how should I say this? Creative, maybe, because they have different bodies in that room this year. You've got Sadir Mitchell from Texas, a guy that has size I don't know that you had last year in the middle that can help stop the run. Jacobian Guillory's coming back from his injury. Ahmad Bro had a really good day today. At least from what I saw, he had some really good reps in that double team drill. That drill is not designed for the D lineman to win. But he found a way to beat two offensive linemen, and he's continually getting better and stronger, and I'm sure he feels a lot more comfortable.
Brad Davis wasn't happy.
No, I'm sure he wasn't. But I'm sure Bro's feeling more comfortable by the day playing for his former defensive coordinator in high school. So, and then obviously we already talked about the edge position. You've got Jack Pyburn, Muller. You've got Patrick Payton, the speed rusher guy that can help you against the run. Jamari Butler, a big dude that can come off the edge. I just think that Blake Baker, who prides himself on havoc and blitzing, can get more creative with the different types of bodies and personalities he has in the trenches this year.
All right, I'm going to throw this out at you, and it's early, and we, see the receivers that, are returning, but the newcomers and transfer portal guys, Brown, Anderson, Destin Hill, which of those three has impressed you the most so far?
Probably Brown, because Anderson, he's still coming back from the injury. Right. I haven't really seen a lot of him. He's more so off to the side, taking mental reps, and I can tell he's getting frustrated. He's doing a rep. He doesn't perform it to the best of his ability, he would say, I suppose. And, he's shaking his head like, man, it's a bummer right now.
I knew Anderson would be third because of that, but I was wondering what your gap was between Destin Hill and Brown, because it's not like Destin Hill's look like he's looked pretty darn good as well.
I think they're just two different
and they're giving him a real opportunity.
Yeah, no, I mean, Hill and Brown are getting some run with the ones, but I feel like they're using Hill differently than Brown. I mean, Brown is a speedster, and that's going to translate. He's got everything that Aaron Anderson has, plus a little bit of height. So I think between the three, Brown is in the most prime position to succeed, because he's not really coming off of an injury, if I'm not mistaken. And Every time I've seen him run routes, do one-on-ones, I mean, he's a really, really tough cover, and they can
The thing I like about Hill is his physicality and his strength.
Yeah. They bring him in on some of those plays that could be runs, could be play action.
I think on third down, he could be a devastating short yardage, get the 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 yardage on a slant.
Kind of like CJ Daniels last year. I think they underutilized him, but I think Destin Hill will certainly find a role in this offense too. They're both getting opportunities, but if you're making me pick one between the three to have the best year, I'd say Brown, because he's like Chris Hilton. You know, he's an extension of Hilton a little bit.
I just think they took a flyer on Hill, if you want to call it that. That's the way I view that, taking him in the portal. And I think that one's going to produce.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, he's been out there. He's been getting opportunities. So you like to see that in March, April, you know?
All right, before I let you get out of here, LSU, if you want to say, would you call that taking it on the chin in Austin this past weekend, baseball? What's going to happen? You think Jay's looking to shake up his weekend rotation, or he's going to stick with it and let it play out a little bit longer? And big one, or I don't know if it's a big one, ULL tonight.
Pretty big, yeah. I wouldn't say they took it on the chin. I think it was a learning opportunity. They looked great on Friday. I think on Saturday and Sunday, you know, you could say what you want about the Cowan thing and Ianson taking him out at 78 pitches. I feel like, you know, they've been letting him go to 90, 95, so you could probably leave him in there. But Jay knows more about baseball than I ever will, so probably a matchup thing that he wanted. I think you keep everything the same. Tough environment, tough situation. I don't think it's going to happen many times this year where you roll out 7 guys and not one of them really produces for you. I thought Connor Benj did pretty well amongst that grouping. So I think you stick with it. You got to see more, though. LSU had the pitching advantage on Sunday on paper, at least, and I don't think that Chase Shores won that matchup, it's safe to say. So you need a little bit more out of those two guys. I think Friday, you're one of the best Friday night teams in college baseball, no doubt, with the guys that you have and the way the lineup sets up with Kate Anderson and, you know, Cowan and the lineup and whatnot. So, you know, learning opportunity, first SEC road series. I'm sure he'll make some tweaks and changes. I wonder who starts tonight, because Jaden Newt started last week. He looked really good. And I wonder if they want to start using him potentially out of the bullpen, because he's done a little bit of that this year as well. And in that case, you need somebody else to start tonight against UL.
I bet it's not him.
Yeah, it's possible, because he pitched well, and they might look to use him in one of those Saturday, Sunday spots where they've had some issues. So you might see Ware, you might see Schmidt. It could be a bullpen day. I mean, you got some options there, but UL's a decent team. I know their win-loss record's not pretty, but they can put up some runs. They've lost a lot of high-scoring games this year. So you can't just throw anybody out there and expect to win. Every time they play LSU, they got a chip on their shoulder, and you know, they're going to try to win, obviously. So tonight will be interesting. I think the Jaden Newt starting pitching thing is the most interesting thing to follow.
All right. So what you got on WAFB, and does the Thursday, Friday, Saturday baseball work well with LSU women's basketball playing Friday night? Jacques, I know, flies out tomorrow to Spokane. And I guess you and Kevin are going to hold down the fort.
Yeah, it's going to have to work. You know, the job's got to get done. So Jacques making that long trip out there. I looked up how long it would take to drive from here to there. It said 1 day and 10 hours. So it is a long, long way away. But I've never been to the state of Washington, so I don't know if Jacques has either. Do you know?
I don't. No,
Probably
he
not.
has. He's been. I'm sure he was there for LSU versus Washington in Seattle for football years ago.
Okay,
I could be wrong, but I bet he was there.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we'll make it work. Busy weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing how LSU does tonight, and then in that baseball series, you know, how they respond and what things maybe change. So,
absolutely. All right, John Eads, everybody, and if you enjoyed it, this report, hit the like button. Also, we got a lot more Joe Sloan up there. We've got our practice footage. Head over to Tiger Bait. Got some more recruiting updates being posted later today. Subscribe button, notification bell. You know the drill, and we'll see you again on Thursday. John, man, thanks so much.
You got it, Mike. Anytime. Thank you.